Hey everybody, Theresa here and welcome back to my channel. I have a layout today for the Clique Kits International Creative Team. And so I'm going to be sharing an art journal page with you using the Chromatics Rainbow Sherbet Sampler Kit. And again, this is an art journal layout that I thought I would do. I am starting in a new notebook this week. And I always love the excitement of a new notebook. It's not opened yet. It's not been broken in. And so I'm going to share with you here some of the ephemera from this kit and go ahead and start laying out some of the elements for the page. And while I'm doing that, I'll tell you about how I prep my notebooks. And so this is just a normal lined notebook like you could get at Barnes & Noble or at Target if you wanted to. It's a little bit larger than what I normally work in, almost 8 by 10. But what I do to prep is go through and tear out, especially this notebook is sewn into magazines, and so tear out the center of those magazines so that it's less bulky, and leave yourself approximately 4 pages for each layout. And what I do is I go and adhere 2 pages together twice for a layout, and that makes the pages a little bit thicker. I just use matte medium for that. And then once you have 2 pages that you've done like that, then I go over it with gesso to prep the layout. I've also added washi tape, just some colorful washi from my stash, and that's in the center, in the gutter, and that will help to keep the fluids from getting into the spine, and also keep, if you're using paints, then it will keep those paints from seeping into other layouts. So I'm right now just sort of laying out sort of what I want the page design to be. And I have a couple of, like, one of the things that I really loved was the packaging from one of the ephemera packs. And there were also some really cool little, almost like Polaroid frames. And I wanted to use those. I have a photo of myself. This was from June of this year. And I'm a curly girl, wavy girl, but I blow-dried out my hair straight one day, just experimenting around with it, and took a picture of it. And so I thought I would include that in my art journal. I like to include photos of myself in my art journals. It puts me in these pages and makes these pages more about myself as I'm appearing from day to day. And one of the things that I usually do when I'm sitting down to create an art journal is I developed the habit a few years ago to use this prompt. What are the things that I need to hear right now? What are the things that I need to be reminded of, to be comforted with? What are the things that I need to remember about myself? And to art journal from that perspective and pull items into the layout that help me channel that energy. And that's a practice of grounding. I think that art journaling and being creative are excellent resources to have in our toolbox for our own mental health. And so you can see here how I'm sort of doing it's almost like 2 layouts separate, but they're combined together, and it felt, at this stage in the game, it felt very separate, like they were 2 separate layouts. But basically just a couple of cuts from the pattern papers. I'm focusing mainly on the pink, the yellow, and the oranges from these pattern papers and from these ephemera. And here's where I decided to flip the page, and I thought that that would help to make these two pages feel a bit more cohesive. One of the main factors that I think contributes is placing the photo so that I'm looking into the layout instead of looking off the page. And so that changes that dynamic a little bit and helps it to feel more like a full page. And in the end, does it feel like two separate pages? Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. I don't think it really matters. I think it's just the point of gluing down, putting things down, and using products and colors and word sentiments that make you feel happy no matter what it looks like. And so a couple of thoughts about my choices here. So I mentioned the little frames that I really liked. I used two of them. There was a pink one and a kind of orange one. And I kind of wanted it to feel like the butterfly is looking through a window. And so there's a layering here that happens. The pattern paper and then a leaf from the cut apart sheets. And then the butterfly and a little word sentiment. And there's also little tabs tucked around it, and just other little embellishments and things that I've tucked around these little windows. Those windows represent a world that I'm building, and I encourage you to think about what do the elements on your page represent for you. And I'm the perspective of I'm looking at the butterfly, and the butterfly is observing what I'm building. And that's kind of a cool perspective to think about. What are others observing you building in your life right now? And to hold a sense of pride for that and work towards building a life that makes you happy, and allow others to see that and allow others to be inspired by that as well. There were also some really beautiful tags in this collection, and I loved including tags with the little fiber with the string just to create some more texture. And you can see here how this is a collage art for me. I'm not sure whether this is more art journal page or collage art, but when I do this, I typically sort of lay out things, and you can see how I took a picture on my phone so that I would remember how to put it back together. And then I also decided to use my glue gun for this layout. And one thing that I love about using your glue gun is that it lifts things off the page a little bit. It also, I have a tendency to burn myself on glue guns, and so I try to be minimal with how much I'm using, and that means that I can tuck things underneath and inside and around. Somehow, I don't know, it just creates a cool kind of dimension more so than just plain adhesive. It also, because glue gun adhesive seals really quickly, you can't think too long about where you're going to put it, and it creates that sort of free-form feeling. So I also wanted to just add a little bit of paint here to the background. And normally I recommend adding paint to your background before you begin your process. I'm using some Tim Holtz Distress inks. I will include the specific colors down below for you. But this time I chose to add the splatters after I was done because I wanted the splatters to spill over onto all of these elements, and that way everything becomes a part of a cohesive layout. Anything that you add onto more than one layer brings those layers together. It's my favorite part of art journaling, actually. And then I'm cheating here and speeding up the drying process by just dabbing on this little paper towel to absorb some of that excess moisture. I did get a little bit messy with those paint splatters, and there was a point at which, there's always a point at which whenever I use red-based splatters, there's a point at which it almost looks like a scene, but blotting those paint splatters with the paper towel, it tones that down a little bit and helps it become a part of the art journal process. The last thing I'm going to do here is I'm using this little wood block stamp set. This came from Joann's a couple of years ago. I will look and see if there's any kind of links, if they're still available anywhere. But I just wanted to use the Life is Beautiful stamp, and then there was also this little tiny leaf stamp, and I'm just using archival black ink here to kind of fill in a little bit more on the white background. And so that completes my layout today. Thank you so much for joining me on this art journaling adventure. I hope that you will check out the Clique Kits shop and consider purchasing this beautiful collection. And I appreciate you so much. Thanks again for watching. I'll see you back here again soon. Bye-bye.